The twin suns of Varan 4 were setting behind the glass domes of Outpost 11, bathing everything in red and gold light. Inside the maintenance bay, the human engineer Eli Ward wiped the sweat from his brow. His hands covered in silver dust from the damaged reactor coils. He had been working 12 hours straight. Fixing what the alien workers said was too delicate for human hands. But Eli had a quiet stubbornness, the kind that didn't need to prove anything, only to finish the job right across the bay. A group of alien technicians laughed as they watched him work, their violet skin shimmering under the neon lamps. One of them, a young woman named Sira, leaned against a power console with a grin that could melt tungsten. Sira belonged to the Vetheri, a curious species known for their humor and boldness. They loved teasing humans, especially the serious ones. And no human was more serious than Eli Ward. "Look at him," Sira whispered to her friends, "so focused. Like the universe depends on that one little wire." Her friends giggled. Their voices like chimes. She decided she wanted to make him smile, just once, even if it took a harmless prank. When Eli crouched beside the reactor to realign the energy conduits, Sira quietly walked behind him. She tilted her head, playful eyes glowing, and with a laugh said, "Don't mind me, human. Just checking stability, then." Before anyone could stop her, she sat on his lap. The room went silent for one single heartbeat, and then everything exploded in light. A surge of blue energy burst from the reactor, shooting upward like a storm of lightning. The entire station flickered, panels sparked, alarms screamed. Eli fell backward with Sira still clinging to him, both landing hard on the floor as gravity shuddered around them. For a brief moment, the stars outside the glass dome pulsed, glowing brighter as if responding to something alive. Sira gasped, the glow spreading across her skin. Her veins lit up like molten silver. Eli's heartbeat thundered, visible through his chest as waves of light rippled outward. Every machine, every screen in the outpost showed the same impossible signal, a heartbeat synchronized with the stars themselves. Technicians scrambled to shut down the systems, shouting in panic. But the energy wouldn't stop. It was not from the reactor. It was from them. Sira tried to move away, but the moment she broke contact, the light dimmed, the heartbeat faded. She stared at Eli, eyes wide with shock. "What? What did I just do?" She whispered, trembling. Eli blinked, dazed, his hands still faintly glowing. "I don't know. But I think we just broke physics. Outside." Across the dark horizon, the stars pulsed once more, this time slower. Like they were breathing, the station's commander arrived moments later, her armored boots echoing against the deck. "What happened here?" She barked, scanning the mess of wires, the two glowing figures on the floor. No one answered, not even the machines. Data poured into the command center, solar readings from nearby systems, gravimetric shifts, radiation spikes. Every star within 5 light years had blinked in the same rhythm as the human's pulse. It wasn't random. It was connected. Sira's friends stood frozen, their playful faces drained of color. "It was a joke," one of them whispered. She just sat on him. The commander looked at Sira sharply. "You did what?" Sira stammered. "It was just for fun. I didn't mean." But her words were drowned by the hum of the energy still echoing through the floor. Eli stood up slowly, his eyes reflecting starlight. "It wasn't your fault," he said quietly. "Something inside me reacted." She nodded weakly, but fear crept into her voice. The stars reacted too. Security bots surrounded them, their sensors scanning for contamination. Scientists rushed in with equipment, whispering among themselves. "Human biosignature linked with stellar resonance," one muttered. "That's impossible," another replied. "Unless—" "He carries the old imprint," the commander gave an order. Both of them contain them now. Eli looked around, confusion turning into realization. We didn't do this on purpose, he said. You can't just. But before he could finish, the energy field around his body flared again, knocking the guards backward like leaves in a windstorm. Sira stepped closer, placing a trembling hand on his shoulder. Eli, she said softly, whatever this is, it's not over. He looked up at the glowing stars through the glass, his voice low. No, it's only beginning. As the alarm slowly quieted, the base lights flickered to normal, but far above Varan 4. Telescopes and deep space sensors from dozens of alien civilizations recorded the same anomaly for the first time in recorded history. Every nearby star had pulsed in harmony with a human heart. And somewhere deep within the galactic core, an ancient system awakened after 1,000 silent years. It whispered a single word through the static of the void: human. The universe had just remembered something it had long forgotten, and all of it began with one reckless joke. The next morning, Varan 4 did not wake quietly. Every news screen, every transmission channel, every government feed was replaying the strange pulse that had crossed the night sky. Stars had blinked in perfect rhythm, and no one knew why. Inside the quarantine chamber, Eli Ward sat on a metal cot, staring at his hands that still shimmered faintly beneath the skin across the glass. Scientists in white containment suits studied him like a relic from another age. Sira sat in the next room, her violet eyes wide with fear and guilt. She could still feel the echo of his heartbeat inside her mind. Like a drum she couldn't silence, Commander Rethan entered the lab, her boots clicking sharply. Report, she demanded. The chief scientist replied. The energy wasn't from the reactor, it came from him. Commander, Rethan frowned. You mean the human? Yes, the scientist said. And when the alien girl touched him, their biofields merged. The stars outside reacted as if following a command. Rethan turned to the viewing glass, watching Eli breathe, slow and steady. He's a mechanic, she said softly. Not a god, but even she didn't believe her own words. Hours later, Eli was questioned under bright lights. He tried to explain he had no control, that he felt something awaken the moment Sira touched him. It was like the stars were listening, he said quietly. Like they were waiting for me. The officers exchanged uneasy glances. They had all seen the footage. Meanwhile, Sira's people, the Vetheri, sent diplomats demanding her release. They feared she had triggered a forbidden human weapon. Rumors spread fast. Some said the human heart was a cosmic beacon. Others whispered it was a curse. Outside the outpost, ships from nearby systems began to orbit Varan 4, curious and afraid. The pulse had reached 5 light years in every direction, disturbing gravity wells and even awakening dead satellites. Some worlds thought it was an invasion. Others believed it was prophecy. That night, when everyone else slept, Sira sneaked past the guards and entered Eli's chamber. He looked up, surprised but not angry. I had to see you, she said softly. They think we did something wrong. Eli gave a tired smile. Maybe we did something right, through the glass window. They watched the twin suns sink below the horizon. Sira whispered, Do you feel it too? That hum in the air? Eli nodded slowly. It's everywhere now, suddenly. The lights flickered again, and the pulse returned stronger. Every monitor came alive, showing star maps burning bright. An ancient pattern appeared across the displays, like constellations rearranging themselves into a message. The words were unreadable, but Eli could feel their meaning deep inside. It was like hearing the voice of the universe itself. Guards rushed in, sirens howling. Contain them, the commander shouted. But the energy field kept expanding. The walls glowed. The metal floor vibrated like a living thing. Sira grabbed Eli's arm instinctively, and the pulse stabilized. Instantly, The chaos stopped. The lights dimmed. The hum softened into a steady rhythm, the rhythm of a human heartbeat echoing through space. The scientists froze. Recording every frequency, Eli looked at Syrah, realization dawning in his eyes. "It only stops when you're near me," he said. She nodded shakily. "Then maybe the stars want us together." But not everyone agreed, up above. The Galactic Council intercepted the readings and classified the event as a cosmic hazard. Orders were sent to capture Eli Ward and the alien girl for study. The same night, a shadow fleet began its journey toward Varan 4. Their mission: contain the human before the stars obey again. Eli sat alone after Syrah was taken back to her room. He closed his eyes, feeling the pulse still vibrating inside him. Every beat echoed beyond the walls. Beyond the sky, he didn't understand why. But he sensed something enormous moving across the galaxy, something waking, and for the first time in centuries. The stars themselves seemed alive. In distant observatories, astronomers whispered the same phrase across all channels. "The stars are breathing." They didn't yet know. It was breathing with him. 3 days passed since the pulse shook Varan 4. The station remained locked down. Military patrols guarded every exit. And rumors grew louder in every corridor. People whispered that the human engineer had awakened something older than time. Others said the stars themselves now watched the planet. Eli Ward sat in his containment room, staring at the faint glow still pulsing under his skin. It felt warm and cold at the same time, like sunlight and shadow mixed together. He barely slept, because every time he closed his eyes, he saw flashes of distant galaxies. Sometimes he heard whispers, like memories that didn't belong to him. In another room, Syrah was being questioned by the Council's investigators. They wanted to know how a simple joke turned into a galaxy-wide event. She told them the truth, that she only sat on him to make him laugh. But they didn't believe her. They thought she had used Forbidden Sphethery psychic tricks. When she cried, the officers turned away, calling her story impossible. Meanwhile, deep inside the science wing, the researchers made a discovery. Eli's blood wasn't normal human blood anymore. It carried microscopic light patterns, moving like constellations under a microscope. One of the scientists gasped, realizing they had seen this design before. They called it the stellar imprint, a genetic pattern believed to have vanished when old Earth fell thousands of years ago. Legend said that ancient humans once forged a bond with the stars themselves. They used energy drawn from dying suns to travel between galaxies. But when war consumed their empire, that power was sealed away. Only a few descendants might still carry fragments of the code, hidden deep in their DNA, and now one of them, Eli Ward, had awakened it. Commander Rethan read the report in silence, her hands trembling. "If this is true," she said, "then humanity didn't lose its connection to the stars. It forgot it." The scientist nodded. "And the alien girl reignited it." Syrah was brought before Rethan soon after, her wrists bound with glowing cuffs. The commander studied her quietly before speaking. "You triggered something the galaxy buried for 10,000 years, she said. Syrah shook her head. "I didn't mean to please." "Let me see him," Rethan sighed. "You'll see him soon, at first. We must move both of you to a secure facility." That night, Eli overheard 2 guards talking outside his cell. They mentioned something called Project Genesis, a secret from the old Terran archives. Eli's mind raced. He had heard that name before. His mother once worked on a classified mission before disappearing during the colonist wars. Could it be connected? When the guards left, a faint voice spoke inside his mind. It was Syrah, her tone soft but urgent. "Eli, can you hear me?" "They're moving us tonight," he whispered back, though no one was in the room. "How are you doing that?" "I don't know," she replied. "But since the pulse, I can hear your thoughts when I focus." Eli stood up, the glow under his skin brightening. Then we're not just connected, we're bonded. Moments later, alarms blared across the facility. Security lights flashed red as unknown ships entered Varan 4's orbit. The Council's Shadow Fleet had arrived sooner than expected. They weren't here to transport, they were here to erase. Rethan stormed into the lab shouting orders. Evacuate the research core. Protect the subjects. But it was too late. The hull shook violently as plasma fire rained from above. Sira's cell door shattered, and she ran through the smoke calling Eli's name. When she reached his chamber, soldiers were already dragging him toward the transport bay. Without thinking, she lunged forward, touching his hand. The moment their skin connected again, the entire facility lit up like a newborn sun. The attackers froze, blinded by the blinding white surge. The energy tore through walls, cutting off communication systems, and then, just like before, the stars responded. They pulsed in harmony with Eli's heartbeat. Ships in orbit lost power for 10 full seconds, their reactors silenced by the cosmic resonance. Eli and Sira stood in the center of the storm. Unharmed, her eyes reflected galaxies. His body shimmered like glass full of lightning. Eli, she whispered. They'll kill us for this, he nodded. Then we run, Rethan. Watching from the shattered control deck, made a decision. She ordered her team to open the outer hangar. Letting the chaos create confusion. Let them go, she said quietly. The galaxy will hunt them, but they deserve a chance. Eli and Sira escaped aboard an old cargo shuttle, its engines barely holding together. As the ship broke through the atmosphere, Sira looked back at the burning planet below. Do you think we'll ever stop running? She asked. Eli smiled faintly. Not until we know the truth. Far behind them, inside the damaged facility, one final transmission played on a cracked monitor. It was the recovered log of Project Genesis. The message was old, spoken by a long-dead human scientist. If you are hearing this, it means the stars have chosen again, the voice said. Humanity was never meant to fade. We were meant to sleep and rise when the universe called us home. Sira and Eli drifted into the black sea of space, unaware that hundreds of scanners were now tracking their ship. The galaxy had just found the last living key to the stellar imprint. And somewhere deep within the void, an ancient human signal began to stir once more. Its code whispered through the stars. Welcome back. Children of Earth. The cargo shuttle drifted silently through the dark lanes of space, its engines dimmed to avoid scanners. Inside, Eli sat beside the cockpit window, watching streaks of starlight flash and fade like memories. Across from him, Sira slept curled in her seat, her breathing soft, her hand still faintly glowing where it had touched his. For the first time since the accident, there was quiet. But it was not peace, it was the silence before another storm. Every major network in the galaxy had now broadcast the same warning. Wanted. Human male Eli Ward and Vethri female Siric land subjects of stellar contamination. Rewards were offered, hunters were deployed, and entire sectors were put on high alert to the Council. They weren't people anymore. They were anomalies that needed to be erased. Eli stared at the blinking star map on the console, tracing a path toward the old mining zones beyond charted space. There, he hoped to find someone who might know the truth about Project Genesis. Sira stirred awake, rubbing her eyes. Are we still running? She asked, her voice soft. Eli smiled tiredly. Running, hiding, surviving, it's all the same now. Outside the viewport, a cluster of blue gas clouds shimmered, and through them, shapes moved metal shadows, gliding silently. The sensors pinged faintly. They found us, Eli muttered. Tightening his grip on the controls, Sira leaned forward, eyes wide. Who? Hunters, he replied, and not the friendly kind. Moments later, The blackness erupted in streaks of red plasma fire. The shuttle jolted. Alarms screamed. Fragments of light sprayed across the hull. Eli pushed the throttle. Weaving through the debris field of forgotten satellites, Sierra reached out with her glowing hands, her voice trembling. Eli, let me try something. She closed her eyes, focusing on the rhythm that pulsed inside her chest. The stars outside flickered in response. For a moment, time slowed, and their tiny ship seemed to vanish into the light. The hunters fired blindly, unable to track them. When the flash faded, the shuttle had jumped thousands of kilometers away. Safe for now? Eli looked at her in disbelief. You did that. Sierra shook her head, breathing hard. No. We did. Their connection had deepened. What once was a spark was now a bridge. Energy flowed between them like a living river, linking human and alien essence into one pulse. After hours of silence, the navigation computer beeped, signaling proximity to an unmarked system. In the center of that void floated a massive derelict ship, old and scarred, its hull marked with human letters long erased by time. They docked carefully, entering the dark interior where the air smelled of rust and dust. Lights flickered on automatically, revealing faded banners with the emblem of old Earth. This was a Terran exploration vessel, Eli whispered. Maybe one of the last before the fall. As they moved deeper, they found a sealed chamber with a humming core still active after centuries. Sierra placed her hand on the console, and the machine came alive, recognizing her energy signature combined with his. A hologram flickered into view, showing a woman in an ancient Terran uniform, her voice echoing through the silence. To whoever awakens this ship, she said, the stellar network is alive, buried beneath the Council's control grid. They fear humanity's resonance because it links all energy, biological and cosmic, into harmony. Eli's breath caught. That's why they're hunting us. Sierra nodded slowly. You're not just part of it. Eli, you are the key. Suddenly the ship trembled. Distant thuds echoed through the corridors. The hunters had tracked the energy spike and were boarding. Go! Eli shouted, grabbing her hand. They ran through the narrow halls as blaster bolts scorched the walls behind them. Sierra turned and raised her palm. Releasing a burst of light that blinded their pursuers, they reached the main airlock. But a massive alien admiral appeared on the other side, armor glinting under the ship's emergency lights. His voice was deep and cold. By order of the Council, you are to be surrendered. Human, Eli stood his ground. You think the stars obey your counsel? The Admiral sneered. They obey power. Eli's eyes glowed brighter, his voice steady. Then you should fear what real power feels like. The walls vibrated as the old Terran ship came alive again. Systems awakening one by one. Outside, the nearest sun flared in response to Eli's heartbeat. Waves of energy sweeping across the void. The hunter ships lost control, spinning helplessly as their reactors overloaded. The Admiral stumbled, shouting in disbelief. What are you? Eli answered quietly. Human. Sierra pulled him toward the shuttle, shouting over the storm of light. We have to go now. They launched just as the derelict ship exploded behind them, releasing a ripple that traveled faster than light. Sensors across the galaxy recorded it. The stars had pulsed again, stronger than ever, but this time something else awoke. Deep in the galactic core, an ancient system opened its eyes, detecting the pattern. A mechanical voice whispered into the void. Stellar signature confirmed the source gate awaits. Eli felt it too, a direction burning inside his chest. He turned to Sierra, eyes wide. It's calling us, she nodded, tears glinting. Then let's answer. As their small ship vanished into hyperspace, the stars behind them shimmered like a living ocean. The hunt wasn't over. It had just reached the heart of the galaxy. And for the first time in eons, the stars themselves were moving. They were moving toward the human. The shuttle drifted out of hyperspace into a silent region at the edge of the galaxy. Before them hung a dying sun surrounded by the remains of broken moons. In its orbit floated a vast circular structure, glowing faintly through the cosmic dust. Sira stared in awe. "Is that the source gate?" Eli nodded slowly, his chest light pulsing with the same rhythm as the gate's halo. The ancient signal had led them here. Every star they passed had pulsed in greeting, as if guiding them to this forgotten place. Now the final destination awaited, where humanity's first light had once been born. Their small ship trembled as gravitational waves rolled outward from the massive ring. Symbols along the structure shimmered. Awakening after millennia of silence, Sira reached for Eli's hand. Her voice shaking, "Whatever happens, we face it together," he smiled faintly. "Together is how we got this far." They stepped onto the observation deck as the gate opened, splitting space like a curtain of liquid glass. Inside, they saw fragments of memory ancient humans forging alliances, building worlds, singing with the stars. It was not technology, it was remembrance. A voice echoed through the ship, calm and infinite. Genetic signature confirmed, descendant of Earth recognized. Eli felt warmth flood through him. Light spilling from his eyes and veins, he fell to his knees as starlight poured into his body. Sira held him tightly, shouting his name, but her voice was drowned by the hum of creation. Vision surrounded them, showing a time when humans had been one with the cosmos. They had created the stellar network to share life between stars. Not to conquer them, but fear and greed had shattered it, and the memory of what they were had been erased. The gate whispered, "The cycle must renew. The bridge must awaken." Eli's body rose from the floor. Suspended in light, the glow around him expanded, touching every ship and satellite in the system. For a heartbeat, every living being across nearby sectors looked to the sky and saw their suns flicker. The light formed into a wave, spreading outward faster than thought. Every star responded, bowing in unity to their long-lost children. Sira cried as she watched him dissolve into light. "Eli, don't leave me," she whispered. His voice echoed gently. "I'm not leaving, Sira. I'm becoming what I was meant to be." The stars flared brighter, and his image appeared across the heavens, a silhouette of a man surrounded by endless light. He smiled. "The stars remember us on distant worlds?" Alien scientists dropped their instruments in disbelief. Commanders and admirals fell silent as their fleets lost power for a single moment. Even the Galactic Council chambers dimmed, bathed in the soft light of the reborn network. For the first time in ages, there was no war, no noise, only awe. The universe was listening again. The source gate stabilized, transforming from ruin to brilliance, streams of data, energy. And life flowed between systems once dead. New stars ignited where the wave passed, giving birth to nebulae shaped like wings. Sira stood on the deck, tears glowing as she whispered, "He did it." Her body shimmered, touched by the same energy, linking her heart to the network forever. When the light finally faded, the shuttle drifted quietly. Sira looked out at the endless ocean of stars bowing in rhythm to Eli's last heartbeat. She smiled through the tears, whispering, "The galaxy will never laugh at humans again." Her voice carried through the systems, across frequencies no one could block. And somewhere deep in the cosmic wind, Eli's voice answered softly, "We are home." The stars pulsed one last time, slower, gentler, like a lullaby. The legend of the human and the alien who awakened the heavens spread across every world. They called it the Day of Resonance, the day when the stars bowed to mankind once more, and in the heart of the universe, a new light burned bright, eternal, human,